Well, 13 hopefuls, including 3 women, have picked up nomination forms to run for the Tamale Central constituency seat, which became vacant following the passing of the previous Member of Parliament, Dr. Murtala Mohammed. Nominations, which open today, are expected to close on Sunday, 24 August.
10 candidates have already picked nomination forms on day 1 of the opening of the nominations for the Tamale Central constituency NDC primaries. They include a former mayor, a lecturer at the University for Development Studies, the UK former chair of the NDC, a diplomat, among other aspirants. Speaking to JoyNews, the Northern Regional Secretary of the NDC, Mohammed Salam, said they have made provisions for more forms to come after they had picked up 10 for the process.
And we are making more forms available in anticipation that more people are yet to come and pick up the forms and file to contest. It tells that Tamale Central is a constituency of choice. You have 2 women who have picked and 7 men. Some are officials of political party, others are former executives, including the former UK Ireland chairman of the party.
He also outlined the itinerary for the programs.
For now, we are just issuing our forms. We will receive the forms in the matter of days. These nominations are only open for 4 days. Anyone who has picked up form by Tuesday, the close of Tuesday, they should have submitted the forms.
Some of the aspirants have spoken to JoyNews.
My bid, first of all, is to bring back technically the life of Honorable Murtala Mohammed, to serve the people of Tamale Central, and to continue with the legacy he left behind.
The reason why I suspect that something fishy is that first step they took. Create some kind of intention. And that is what I am trying to stop.
The unique features in him is a grassroots man. He visits the constituency and he mentor a lot of youth, especially those who have, most of them who take the form. They are all students, most of them are his students. He has been in the terrain for long.
Well, news editor at Kumasi unit of the multimedia group, Kofi Edu, has emerged victorious once again in the rerun of the Asante Regional Ghana Journalists Association GJ chairmanship election. Now, the rerun held on today followed a petition filed by the defeated candidate in the initial polls, who challenged the eligibility of some voters captured in the GJ register. However, Kofi Edu consolidated his earlier lead by amassing an overwhelming majority of the valid vote cast. Nana Bwachi-Adam has more in the following report.
Mr. Donfe Kofi Edu pulled 20 votes. Madame Georgina Amankoma 11 votes. Total valid votes 31. Rejected 0. Total vote in the box 31. So please, I hereby declare Mr. Donfe Kofi Edu as the winner for today's poll.
News editor of the Kumasi unit of the multimedia group, Kofi Edu, emerged victorious during the rerun of the Asante Regional Ghana Journalists Association chairmanship election with 20 votes. The rerun of the election was as a result of a petition filed by his opponent, who had argued that irregularities in the GJA voters register, particularly regarding the eligibility of some members, undermined the fairness of the process. Her petition to the GJA's Election Dispute Resolution Committee was upheld, prompting the association to order a rerun of the chairmanship election only, while results for the other executive positions remained intact. Kofi Edu, after being declared victorious, promised a new dawn of journalism in the Ashanti region.
This election that we went to was for the liberation of the media in the Ashanti region. And I should say now and here that there's a new dawn for journalism and media practice here in the Ashanti region. A lot is expected of me and my team And I'm standing here declaring that we will never disappoint our colleague journalists and people who look up to qualitative journalism and media practice here in the Ashanti region and indeed in the country. When this rerun was announced, there were a lot of skepticism, concern, worries here and there, but we said the good Lord has a reason for things that happen. And this is a testimony to the fact that what God has said, He has indeed sealed it.
According to Kofi Edu, the regional GJA will increase its membership going forward to allow full participation of journalists. National President of the GJA, Albert Kwabena also called for unity amongst journalists.
And I want to say that I've personally been here. I follow the process, I observe, I monitor, and I can say without missing words that it was a very smooth success. It was a smooth process, let me put it that way. It was a very smooth process, and the outcome or the result says it all. So for me, it's a good one, and kudos. I think Ashanti region has won. It's not Kofi. It's not a victory for Kofi. It's not a victory for anybody. It is time for all of you to come together, and that was what I was expecting from your newly elected chairperson.
In the initial election, Domfe narrowly secured victory with 16 votes, edging out Georgina Ama Ankoma, who had garnered 15 votes. The rerun, although tense, reaffirmed his win with a landslide margin. For JoyNews, Anabachi Dankoyadum, Kumasi.
Let's now take you to Parliament because the Public Accounts Committee has charged officers at the Donkokrum District Education Office to retrieve over 17,000 Ghana cedis physically challenged allowance paid to an able-bodied teacher. The teacher, Stephen Akomia, who teaches at Adimra RC Primary School in Donkokrum, has been captured in the 2024 Auditor General's report as an able-bodied who received over 17,000 cedis physically challenged transport allowances from June 2021 to May 2024. My colleague James Aveji has more.
There was shock on faces across the committee room when Chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, Abner Osasari, read aloud how a teacher, Stephen Akomia, who is not a physically challenged person, had been receiving transport allowance made for physically challenged teachers for over 3 years.
You placed the person under physically challenged, and then you paid the person allowance, but the person is an able-bodied person. When you do this, you deny those who are rightful beneficiaries of these monies. Mr. Accountant, what happened?
As to how this was possible, directors at the Donkokrum District Education Office had no idea.
We invited a teacher, and per the conversation that we had, he had nothing. He had knowledge about what happened per the placement.
The committee instructs that the Director of Education retrieves the money on risk paying by herself.
Madam District Director of Education and your accountant, we ask that within 30 days, the 17,703 cedis, 28 pesos, must be paid into the Auditor General's recovery account. Clerk, take notice of that, and then the Auditor General's team to kindly take note of that.
Now, several of the infractions captured under the Education Ministry had to do with unearned salaries, unserved bond terms, and payments of teachers without validation. The Deputy Minister, Dr. Clement Apak, says he would deal with the challenge. When the Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment appeared before the committee, there was concern over a jump in rents paid by the Youth Employment Agency, YEA, from 3 million cedis in 2023 to over 5 million Ghana cedis in 2024. The YEA attributed this to the Works and Housing Ministry's decision to lease their building to a private firm, K&A Developers, to manage.
Is it because you had the money? I mean, the money was in your account, so you felt that you pay for it?
Mr. Chair, in fact, when the bill came, we went back to the ministry, and the ministry told us that they handed over the facility to K&A So there's nothing they could do about it. And KNA was ready to eject us from the building. We didn't have any option than to pay.
Respectfully, there was no negotiations, there was nothing. Just because they told you if you don't pay, we'll get you out. But put yourself in this situation. If your landlord have handed over the building to a facility management company and we are increasing rent by 72.5%, would you have accepted it? 72.5% within one financial year, would you have accepted it?
Mr. Chair, why we don't know KNA? KNA came from the Minister of Western Housing.
The committee resumes sitting on Monday. James Savage's report for Joy News.
Well, let's go back to the Asante region because it has recorded the highest number of maternal mortality figures in 3 years. In the first half of 2025, the region recorded 232 maternal deaths per 1,000 or 100,000 live births compared to 158 recorded in the same period last year. This means the region saw its maternal figures appreciated with 74 deaths. There's more in the following report.
Asante Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adomako-Boateng, who revealed this at the ongoing half-year review meeting, also announced a marginal increase in deliveries attended by health workers from 52.3% in 2024 to 53.7% in the same period in 2025. Dr. Adomako-Boateng blames the situation on uncoordinated referrals and lack of capacity at peripheral level. According to him, a new model is being developed as specialists and consultants are deployed to support healthcare provision at the primary care and district levels.
Normally, people hide behind statistics and talk about whether it's significant or not. One mother losing their life is worrying. Because you just see it as a number. It's more than a number. Behind the number, do you know the families that they are taking care of? And so you see that when it comes to issues of maternal mortality, infant mortality, neonatal mortality, it's something that we don't joke at all with. And as you rightly said, if you look at the statistics, 2023 half year, we had 144 mothers dying from 100,000 live births. If you look at 2024, we had 150 maternal deaths from 100,000 live births. And then the year under review is 232 per 100,000 live births. For us, and I'm happy we had our friends from Konfanoche. We have sat down and we have analyzed the data thoroughly. And we have even come with the causes of these. If you look at the data right now, you see that if you take Konfanoche out of it, you see public facilities, private facilities, charge facilities will be recording something like 64 maternal deaths per 100,000 live births. Straight away, people will say, we are achieving the SDG target, which is 70 maternal deaths from per 100,000 live births. And then you look at Konfanoche figure, because the denominator is small, they will be recording over 1,000. So, maternal deaths per 100,000. You say, no, people are dying from Konfanoche. It's not that. When we analyze, we saw that even when we look at the deaths at Konfanoche, most of them were referred to Konfanoche. And so when they are referred to Konfanoche, so that's one. So the question is, if we can really build capacity at the peripheral areas where we can manage them so that they don't refer to Konfanoche, then it means that all these deaths are going to be curtailed. So what we are going to do together with Konfanoche is what we call clinical mentorship. We are looking at the high volume delivery facilities and we are going to map them together with consultants, specialists at Konfanoche. We have already zoned the region and they will be giving them the support, build them then capacity so that they will be able to handle some of the cases. And not only that, when they have been able to build such capacities and they know that somebody is going to refer a case from one of the hinterland, they can tell you, no, don't bring this case, send this case to other area, because the capacity is there, knowing that all the capacities are not the same. So that's the clinical mentorship and vertical mentorship that we are going to pursue aggressively.
This year's review meeting is under the theme Strengthening Primary Healthcare Through Networks of Practice Towards Universal Health Coverage, the Role of Stakeholders. From Kumasi, for Joy News Ohimintiria reporting.
Well, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, is urging businesses across Ghana to establish dedicated human rights desk. According to the Commission, the desk should be staffed by trained officers who help prevent, track, and respond to human rights violations within company operations. Now, speaking during the launch of the Human Rights Awareness Campaign in Accra, Deputy Commissioner of SHRAJ, Mercy Labi, said the goal is to embed human rights accountability within the private sector, ensuring businesses do not contribute to exploitation, abuse, or discrimination. The following report has more.
According to SHRAJ, the proposed human rights desk should be staffed with trained officers who will be responsible for proactively preventing, tracking, and responding to any instances of human rights violations that may occur within or around company operations.
Some recommendations to promote and protect human rights in businesses as contained in the Ghana National Action Plan include setting up a business and human rights desk in businesses enterprises and assigning desk officers. So we are asking businesses to set up a human rights desk and assign human rights officers, development of internal human rights policies, organization of regular training programs for business human rights desk officers and staff in general.
Addressing the audience on the broader intersection between human rights and labor relations, the Minister for Labor, Jobs and Employment, Abdul Rashid Pelpo, emphasized that workplaces are among the most critical environments where rights can either be protected or violated. He identified fair wages, safe conditions, freedom from discrimination, and the right to association as core entitlements.
Respecting human rights, therefore, in labor relations means that every worker, regardless of gender, background, or position, is treated with dignity and fairness. This includes the right to fair wages, safe working conditions, freedom from forced labor, freedom of association, and protection against discrimination.
The General Manager for Movenpick Ambassador Hotel, Isaac Ejay, urged vulnerable individuals whose rights are violated to report to the appropriate authorities.
No one should say that I do not know my rights, I do not have the means of protecting them. First thing is, look out for the state institutions that can protect. That is one. Secondly, lawyers in Ghana have been encouraged to offer some hours of practical and legal aid pro bono. So thankfully we have the Legal Aid Commission and the Executive Director is with us this afternoon. No one should say that I do not know my rights, or even if I know, I feel shy about clamoring and ensuring that they are protected.
The hospitality sector in particular has been called upon to lead by example in upholding human rights within its workplace and supply chains.
Now, President John Dramani Mahama has challenged African leaders to pursue meaningful reforms and ensure stability to make the continent a credible and attractive destination for global investment. Delivering his closing remarks at the 9th Tokyo International Conference on Africa Development, he stressed that whilst Africa is open for business, aspirations alone will not drive progress without action. Now, the conference concluded with the Yokohama Declaration, a framework to strengthen Japan-Africa cooperation in economic growth, social development, and peace and security.
While partnerships such as what we are forging here in TICAD 9 are important, a lot of responsibility rests on the shoulders of African leaders to create an environment that is conducive to trade and investment. We wish to partner with any nation of the world on a basis of win-win, but let us not kid ourselves. Trade and investment will not come to Africa merely because we wish it. We must undertake the hard but necessary reforms to make Africa an attractive destination for investment. And that is why we must silence the guns and stop the fighting. That is why we must reform our economies and make them more stable and predictable. And it is why we must reform our governance and make public service accountable and free of corruption.
Now, building on Japan's push for real concrete action, Prime Minister Shigeru Ishaba introduced a fresh set of initiatives one of the biggest being a new Indian Ocean Africa Economic Zone. The goal is actually to open up more opportunities for Japanese businesses and strengthen ties with countries across the region. You're still watching JoyNews Prime. We'll return with more. Please stay. Welcome back, and we appreciate your time here on JoyNews Prime. Now, the Narcotics Control Commission has sent a strong warning to drug peddlers following the destruction of more than 12 million Ghana cedis worth of seized narcotics at Bondase, in what officials describe as an unusually large haul for such a short period. The Commission says the operation is proof of its renewed crackdown on the drug trade and a clear message that traffickers will be pursued relentlessly. Michael Ashali has the rest of the story.
Almost 13 million Ghana cedis in flame. Not physical cash anyways, but illicit drugs that Narcotics Control Commission is now torching them at the moment because they've been given a court order. This is the result of the latest crackdown on illicit drugs across the country that have managed to swoop in many busts across the country. The Narcotics Control Commission's renewed crackdown on the drug trade may be yielding results. At Bondase, a military training camp, the Commission destroyed yet another massive haul, all seized within just the last 2 months. That's unusually fast, as such large stockpiles are typically gathered over a much longer period. Brigadier General Maxwell Obuba Mante, Director General of NACOC, revealed that tramadol made up the bulk of the torched substances. A huge consignment of the capsules was intercepted in a 40-footer container at Tema Port.
Worth about 11.8 million Ghana cedis, mainly dominated by tramadol, which is a bit, about 50% of what we destroyed a few minutes ago.
The illicit drugs included 6,513 kilograms of cannabis valued at 651,300 Ghana cedis, 1.5 kilograms of cocaine worth $13,500, and nearly 6 million capsules of tramadol, ecstasy, and other substances valued at 11.8 million Ghana cedis. Before the drugs were set ablaze, the Ghana Standards Authority tested them on site.
If it's cocaine, it will turn blue after addition of the two. It means it tested positive for cocaine.
Concerns have emerged about why such busts are not redirected to the pharmaceutical industry. But Brigadier General Mante explained that NACOC has no mandate to decide how seized narcotics are used.
We are implementers of policy, and so we don't dictate how the products that we seize should be used.
The Commission sent a strong warning to drug peddlers, urging other agencies to step up their support in the fight.
For them, nothing but to let them know that our antennas are very high, and we are closing in on most of them. When we get them, they will regret it. Why we call on traditional leaders, religious leaders, and everybody in this country to help, because it's causing a lot of damage to especially the young ones. If you go to the secondary school, the universities, it's so disappointing, to say the least.
Well, 13 million Ghana cedis in flames today, but the Narcotics Control Commission says this will not be the last of it. They have renewed their fight and they are determined and eager to win this fight against illicit drugs. The Director General says they are ramping up more men and more tools to fight the drug trade across the country. For Joy News, Michael Ashali.
In a related development, dangerous substances are robbing thousands of Ghana's youth of their health, education, and future. From tramadol and cocaine to marijuana and unregulated concoctions, the drug crisis is destroying lives while fueling crime and mental illness. The yet-to-be-aired hotline documentary Deadly Doses, my colleague Nana Boachiadom goes inside Kumasi's most notorious ghettos to expose an epidemic that experts warn could soon overwhelm the nation. Here are excerpts.
I want Tinka to be a team of the past in the next 6 months, and I'm very, very happy.
Our journey takes us deep into the heart of places tagged as drug hubs, beginning with Thinker Island at the Alaba suburb of Kumasi, where you watch several addicts drift off mid-conversations, their bodies still, their minds hijacked. This hub has, for decades, defied efforts to be eradicated. I have met these three addicts, leading me into one of the many ghettos in the island. Here, drug dealers operate with an almost open defiance. Our aim is to engage them, to understand their world, and if possible, to spot the elusive cartel that fuels this relentless trade. I begin with 26-year-old Rich Diddy, not his real name, who is already holding 2 tablets of opioid. This will be his second take for the day. He tells me that he started this in class 6 at age 13 after his friend introduced him to Tinker Island.
What drug is this?
This one is red.
Red?
225.
225?
Red.
Why?
This one is they call Unim Red.
Unim Red? Why do you take red?
Because I used to work. They make me work hard to do something like the thing I cannot do itself. I can do it very hard.
For 13 years now, Rich Diddy has been a consistent abuser of opioids, cocaine, marijuana, among others. He is also into alcoholism. He has been to the hospital and has been told about his poor health condition, but says he is unable to stop taking drugs. Seated next to Rich Diddy is 40-year-old ghetto lord, not his real name, who has been into drugs for 15 years now. Despite being a father of 3, he tells me his wife has rejected him because of his addiction.
Cigarette. Rough man. Tell me no, but at long last, Mama, she said, cry, dear, Mammy, baby.
Baby, who? Unim so baby, who now on?
I say, so my young will be a minute to me for saying, you'll be born a kakra.
These drugs are deadly and we have to be careful. We have to get a regulation to help us regulate these drugs very, very well. Very, very well. Because there are people on the market who are selling it without any knowledge of the opioid. We call them opioid naive people. And these people may take this opioid without any knowledge.
Well, 2,000 women die in Ghana annually of breast cancer. Majority of these women are in underserved communities where access to screening and treatment is limited. That's according to the Breast Society of Ghana. Stakeholders at the 6th Annual General and Scientific Meeting are therefore calling for urgent action to bridge gaps in diagnosis, treatment, and patient support, particularly in some regional hospitals across the country. Elsie Texan's report read to you.
Inadequate mammogram services in Tamale to unaffordable radiotherapy in Accra, breast cancer patients face vast challenges. The Breast Society of Ghana, however, is pushing for swift action in diagnosis and treatment. Speaking at the 6th Annual General and Scientific Meeting, President of the Society, Dr. Josephine Nsafo, highlighted the major gaps in access and affordability of care for breast cancer patients in regional hospitals across Ghana. These challenges, she says, have accounted for some of the 2,000 breast cancer-related deaths annually.
About almost 2,000 people died from breast cancer, which is a bit too much. About 70% of cases in Ghana are advanced breast cancer, stage 3 and stage 4. And perhaps they maybe do not get the best as in early disease for a number of reasons. You know, even physical or geographic accessibility. Our health facilities are not equally distributed. They're not equally stocked in terms of infrastructure to treat breast cancer.
Breast cancer survivor from Tamale, Abudu Atika, shared struggles such as limited radiotherapy facilities alongside accommodation and transportation difficulties as major setbacks in Ghana's fight against the disease.
Northern region, some of the challenges we face through breast cancer journey is that Tamale Teaching Hospital doesn't have a mammogram machine. And so sometimes we have to go outside the hospital to get it, which is a little bit expensive. There's no radiotherapy center in Northern Region. Of course, we have one in Konfanochi and then one in Kolebu. But then we have to travel all the way to Konfanochi or Kolebu to have a radiotherapy done. There are no places for us to sleep. Sometimes some sleep outside the hospital premises, which of course is not good for our mental health.
Deputy Minister for Health Dr. Grace Ayensu Dankwa outlined measures to address the gaps in diagnosis and treatment. She assured that where the National Health Insurance Scheme falls short, the Mahama Cares Initiative will step in to provide financial support for patients who apply.
Once they get to that stage, now the next of a government policy kicks in, which is the Mahama Cares, which is the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, so that when they start and the national insurance is not enough, national health insurance is not enough, they can access this fund for the rest of their treatment. For instance, we talked about radiation therapy. Some of them will need surgery. Some of them will need chemotherapy. Most of those medicines are not covered by the National Health Insurance. So the Mahama Cares, which is a Ghana Medical Trust Fund, will kick in and people can apply and access that fund to take care of their needs.
Now, the case involving the death of an immigration officer, Stephen King Amwa, took a new turn in court on Friday, with a fresh suspect added to the existing accused, Bright Awe. Counsel for the accused also pushed for the suspect to undergo medical checks at an independent hospital. Proceedings have been adjourned to September 4, 2025. My colleague Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah was in court and has the following report.
The case for the murdered immigration officer Stephen Amwa just ended today, and the case has been adjourned to 4th September. Quick wrap of all that transpired in court today. So if you hear me saying A2 or new suspect or new accused person, it's all one person. That is Thomas Ziga. Yes. And, you know, previously when we were in court, that was 2 weeks ago, there was a suspect called Bright Hour. He was also in court, but that was what a lot of people were expecting. Then we saw the police bring in a new suspect, which is A2, as I said earlier. Now, when proceedings started, Bright Hour was not in, but it was a new suspect that was in, and the prosecution asked that they wait a little bit while they do the charge sheet for the newly accused person. But then not long after, Bright came in. But what transpired? So counsel for the newly accused, which is A2, the same person, which is Thomas Ziga, his plea was that they sent the newly accused person to the hospital, different from the police hospital. His reason being because when they met him yesterday, he wasn't in a good condition. And all that he was saying is that they wanted Thomas Ziga to be moved from the police hospital to Kolebu. They were very emphatic on that because, according to the council, when they met Thomas Ziga, he didn't look too good, and they feel like he needs to be moved to an independent facility for them to take care of his clients. Prosecutors came in with their bit saying that they feel like the new suspect had been taken care of and has been thoroughly checked. He's been sent to the hospital twice, and they feel like there's nothing wrong. This was a back and forth. Later, the council suggested a 1-week adjournment. The reason being because even though the prosecution said they've taken the accused person to the hospital twice, they feel like the accused person should be taken to the hospital for the 3rd time, but then prosecution opposed. Then later on, the judge came in, she said that she's adjourning the case to 4th September, but then if the health of Thomas Ziga, A2, the new suspect, is in jeopardy, then they should come with a formal application to change the hospital. So, and on that note, the case was then adjourned to 4th September.
Well, we're from the Deputy Finance Minister and MP for Esso Jaman constituency, Thomas Ampem-Nyako, has reiterated his strong commitment to improving learning outcomes in the constituency. For the past 3 years, BEC results in the district have reportedly declined. But speaking at the climax of the maiden 2-week Ampem EduCamp 2025 in Akosombo, where 400 top-performing students from 70 basic schools received intensive training in mathematics, science and English, the MP pledged his strongest resolve to reverse the trend. There's more in the following report. organized by Deputy Finance Minister and MP for Jaman, Thomas Ampem Nyako, under the theme Learn, Explore, Excel. The maiden Ampem EduCamp 2025 was held at Akosombo International School. The 2-week camp brought together 400 JHS students from all 70 public and private schools in the constituency. The initiative is designed to boost BEC performance. After 2 weeks of rigorous academic training, many beneficiaries described the experience as life-transforming.
So far, the experience has been amazing because I've made a lot of friends and I've been able to learn new things, especially in science and math.
At first, I didn't know how to solve even long division was a problem to me. But when I came here, because I socialized with the best or the good friends, I was able to do long division. At
the closing ceremony in Akosombo, the MP donated 400 mathematics and science textbooks, 2,000 exercise books and other learning materials, while outstanding students received awards. Jaman District Education Director Augustina Ajua Owusu praised the initiative, saying it would have a lasting impact.
It's going to improve upon performance in the 3 core subjects that we took them through, because they don't do well in those subjects. That is science, mathematics, and English. And I think come this BECE, we know they are going to improve massively. And then notwithstanding, it has introduced them to a style of learning.
The MP, Thomas Ampem Nyako, reaffirmed his commitment to supporting education and improving learning outcomes in the district.
I haven't been proud of the performance of our children in the BEC over the last 3 to 4 years. But when I was a BC, I started a lot of interventions to support education, including having in-service trainings for teachers in English, mathematics, and science, and particularly in reading. And because of the interventions that we had, we saw the academic performance increasing over the years. And I must say that this program wouldn't have been successful without the tremendous support that we got from our donors. EcoBank, Ghana Limited, supported a lot. In fact, GCB Bank supported, Amandi Constructions, and many others, Me Energy, and another Flow Trade. All these institutions came to our aid. That is why we were able to do this, give them 3 square meals, give them snacks, take them on educational trips, at no cost to anybody. All these things are fully paid for. The t-shirts we distributed to them, the textbooks we bought for them, many other things. And I must commend the teachers.
Some parents hailed the MP's initiative as beneficiaries described the 2-week experience as life-changing. Carlos Caloni, JoyNews, Akosombo.